Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to call for the closing remarks of this conference. It was a 2 days, very interesting marathon, I can say. I'd like to call for Mr. Alejandro Mayorkas, the Deputy Secretary, Department of Homeland Security in the United States of America. Please, sir, join us over here.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you to the Organization of American States for hosting the event, and also the International Center for Sport Security for hosting the event as well. I had some prepared remarks to provide, but I think what I'd rather do is share a few thoughts with you and really defer to my other distinguished colleagues to add their thoughts. One predominant theme is that the sports events bring people together for the best and most noble of reasons to share in an activity that brings enjoyment and enthusiasm and pride to people from all over the world. And with that opportunity comes, unfortunately, in our very dynamic modern landscape, risk. And we must work together to mitigate and manage the risk. And the system that we have in the United States, I from the Department of Homeland Security, we are the lead federal department that coordinates the efforts to ensure the security of sporting events across the country. But what we do not do is we do not supplant the local authorities and capabilities in a particular jurisdiction, but rather coordinate their efforts. And I think that's a very important principle to keep in mind, because there is so much expertise to be brought to bear in the local venue where a sport event is being hosted. And we have built tremendously modern and nimble capabilities where we coordinate the efforts of a number of different federal, state, local, and tribal agencies to ensure the security and enjoyment of the events. And the amount of coordination and the amount of planning and the manner in which we execute a security plan for a sporting event depends upon the rating that we give it based upon a very established threat matrix. As a matter of fact, this weekend in Washington, D.C., there is a very significant sporting event that we are planning and that we are having, and we have given it a threat level 2, not our highest, but nevertheless a very high rating, and that defines the amount of federal investment, the manner in which we coordinate, and the resources that are brought to bear. And I think we here in the federal government invest considerable resources and considerable strategic thinking to the sporting events that we host in the United States and the counsel that we give to others, because we understand one very important principle, and that is, or I should say two. One, of course, is the message that we send through a successful sports event is a message that is a positive one to send throughout the world in the bringing together of people. And number two, that the security framework that we are able to develop in the execution, the successful execution of a sporting event, is a framework that lasts well beyond the sporting event itself, but becomes a paradigm for the manner in which we conduct events of all types and the convening of people of all types, regardless of the nature and the reason for that convention. And so when we build a sporting event that is successful through the framework we have developed, we have also built a framework for our political conventions, our social and faith-based convenings, and the like. And I hope that whatever we have learned from our own experiences, that we have positioned ourselves to be a critical partner with all of you across the globe in the development of a safe, a secure, and a pleasurable and prideful sports event. And we look forward to further partnering with you. And I thank you so very much for convening this event over the last couple days, and I look forward to the future together. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir, for a remarkable speech. I would like to call to the podium Her Excellency, Miss Jacinth Henry Martin, Chief of Staff of the General Secretariat of the Organization of American States. Please, Your Excellency. Help me welcome Her Excellency, please.
I always think I can do this without my glasses. Never works. Distinguished President of the International Center for Sports Security, Mohammed Hanthab, esteemed ministers, permanent representatives, permanent observers, delegates, experts, and participants, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the close of what has been, by all accounts, a very successful and productive first regional conference for the Americas on the impact and intersectionality of major sporting events which touch on two critical pillars of the OAS, security and development. On behalf of the Secretary General of the OAS, and on my own behalf, standing in for the Secretary for Security and Development, most special appreciation is extended to the speakers, panelists, facilitators, and participants for your contributions so critical to the success in evidence. We were fortunate to hear from experts on a wide range of issues, including the importance of multi-sectoral cooperation to ensure the positive socioeconomic impacts of safe and sustainable major sporting events in the Americas. And we explored promising options for government and public sector alliances, shared information, and reached conclusions on this topic of great global interest. The fruitful exchange that took place in this Casa de las Américas among representatives from so many countries of the world, addressing the complex intricacies of security and socioeconomic development in sports, will provide necessary inputs and serve as guidance for future joint endeavors in this field. I'm confident that everyone here is committed to returning to their respective countries with greater insight, better suited to achieve our ultimate conference objectives, to foster greater communication and collaboration among sectors, and to promote an integrated approach that will improve the intersection of sport, sports security, development, and protection of human rights. As the member states embark on a process of reforming the OAS to better meet the needs of the citizens of our hemisphere, dialogues such as the ones we've held in the past 2 days are highly essential. Not only do they provide a valuable opportunity to exchange information, but they also help us to ensure that the 4 pillars enshrined in our vision of the OAS, democracy, human rights, security, and development, continue to be reflected in all aspects of our work. Our discussions have clearly demonstrated that sport has a crucial and cross-cutting role to play in all of these pillars. Our panel discussions shed light on the importance of viewing security as an integral part of development and the need to include respect of human rights as a central and indispensable element of the preparation and organization of any major sporting event. Sport can strengthen community relations and deliver a better understanding and respect for all rights and traditions, while contributing to the building of a cohesive society. Through sport, we can also engage those whose lives and livelihoods are at risk, especially the youth. We can empower our children and contribute to their well-being. We can reconnect social bonds and interactions between families, neighborhoods, and local communities that have been affected by violence and crime. There is tremendous potential here to educate leaders, create positive role models, reach out to the poorest and most troubled, and to improve lives across the regions. Sport, used as the tool that it clearly represents, challenges prejudices, heals divisions, and champions tolerance. Those of us in leadership roles must understand that sport and physical activity have huge potential to contribute to the development of a healthier society and recognize the importance of sport for social and economic development. Major sporting events are not only unique opportunities for development, their legacies can reach all key sectors of society, from education to security, from tourism to human rights, from youth employment to justice administration. And we must achieve all this with teamwork and multi-sectorial cooperation. Planning a major sporting event requires, therefore, an in-depth reflection among different sectors, starting at the highest level of our nations and organizations, and include all levels of policy and decision-making. With clear goals and renewed effort, together we can achieve a great deal more in the years to come to harness the potential of sport to improve lives across our hemisphere. At the OAS, our commitment and our work ensure a multi-dimensional approach to security. For over a decade, we have delivered a wide range of programs that have provided concrete results and contributed to the strengthening of security throughout the region. Through them, OAS member states receive training and learn best practices that build capacities in a number of areas, including improving security at major public events. Factors ranging from spectator violence to organized crime and even potential terrorist threats must be addressed in the organization of large-scale events. Together, we must mitigate and overcome vulnerabilities that could be conducive to violence in sporting events, as well as those sought for exploitation by criminal organizations, including weak security-related capacities, lack of cooperation and information sharing among counterpart security authorities, insufficient training and professionalization of security personnel, and increasingly, the vulnerability of critical information infrastructure. The OAS remains steadfast on its mission and with its responsibility to address these challenges, and will continue working to assist member states at the policy and technical levels. We can be proud to have set an example of how people from different countries with different languages, different histories, different political systems can work together. Most importantly, this conference has encouraged and promoted different forms of mutual assistance and cooperation. Among them, as was mentioned by OAS Secretary General Luis Almagro, the OAS, together with the ICSS, will be exploring the possibility of establishing a center of excellence on major sporting events and sustainable development. I am confident that this conference has made a major contribution to the realization of the goals advanced. On behalf of Secretary General Almagro and the entire OAS Secretariat, we bring this conference to a close. Allow me to reiterate our deep thanks to all those from the OAS and ICSS staff who have, with their dedication, made this event possible. Congratulations to you all. We look forward to working with you in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Allow me to call the chairman of the ICSS Advisory Board, Lord John Stevens, to deliver his closing remarks. Thank you.
Your Excellency, delegates, I don't think anyone who has been here over the 2 days can say that this conference, delegation, discussion, dinner has not been a success. I think you can gauge how people have enjoyed themselves by the level of the contribution, the discussions, the conversations that go with the conference. And that, if that is a gauge of what has taken place, shows what a success this has been. Now, the events of today, the horror in France, in the south of France, the 28 people massacred on the beach in Tunisia, amongst other things that have happened today, must concentrate our minds on the dangerous world that we live in. And you know as well as I do, and Her Excellency has expressed that, as did the Deputy Head of Homeland Security. We live in a massively dangerous place. And as a result of that, sport will always be a target, an easy target for those who want to draw to attention their misdeeds and their evil. Well, I think the last 2 days has been a considerable achievement. And to the Chef de Cabinet, Maximiliano, I, on behalf of those of us here at this particular conference, congratulate you on bringing all this together. The value of what has taken place, the delegates themselves have been an extraordinary high caliber. The delivery of what we're looking for from the OAS in terms of a center of excellence speaks for itself. So I, on behalf of the IPCC, want to thank you, Maximiliano. I particularly want to thank my great friend who I've been involved in from the inception of the IPCC. You heard last night how passionate and how emotional he was in terms of what he and we are trying to deliver in world sport. Make no mistake about it, friends, colleagues, we are determined in the IPCC to deliver something which will hold and stand forever. And I know, from what I've heard over the last 2 days, that you are a major part of that. And I want to thank you on behalf of everybody for taking part in the way you did. And it was said very eloquently in the last session, in sport we're all equal. We are equal. And the reason we're equal is we believe in sport of being for the people, for the children, and for good. So, thank you all, and on behalf of the IPCC, I want to thank you and bring this conference to a close. May your God go with you and make sure that you have a safe and happy return to the many, many places that you go back to. And for us, of course, this is a continuum. We go from here to London, to Geneva, and then back here to the States, to New York. And I hope then I and all the rest of us, on behalf of the President, will see you here and in other places in the future. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thank you, Lord John. On behalf of the OAS and the ICSS, would like to invite you for lunch. It's being served outside. Thank you all for attending this 2-day conference. We were very happy and very proud. Thank you very much.